London, there is something deliciously fitting in the fact that it is the American journalist Michael Wolff who has taken the axe to Donald Trump. Wolff, whose trade is writing about big business and media, and whose previous most famous book was about Rupert Murdoch, is a man about whom few have a good word to say, a journalistic bruiser in designer suit and spectacles, often accused of making up things to suit his own agenda. Not afraid of a little hyperbole, author Michael Wolff says Donald Trump has the least credibility of anyone who has ever walked on Earth, in his first interview since the release of Fire and Fury. A massive winter storm roared into New York, dumping as much as 18 inches of snow. Visitors and workers in Times Square took it all in stride. A South African citizen has been killed and more than a dozen people have been injured after a hot air balloon crashed near the Egyptian city of Luxor. Courtesy 7 Network. Residents find frozen iguanas laying on the floor as temperatures in some parts of Florida drop below 4 degrees. The publisher of a scathing tell-all about the first year of the Trump administration rushed the book to stores amid huge demand while the president's lawyers threatened legal action. For more than 70 years, scientists have been puzzled by the strange behavior of a lethal strain of malaria. A procedure becoming increasingly popular in Thailand is penis whitening, the latest in a string of different forms of skin whitening. Not afraid of a little hyperbole, author Michael Wolff says Donald Trump has the least credibility of anyone who has ever walked on Earth, in his first interview since the release of Fire and Fury. He may remind you of someone. The first thing to be said about Fire and Fury, inside the Trump White House, is that it is absolutely tremendous and impossible to put down and delivered in a punchy, abrasive style. From the start, Wolff writes, the leitmotif for Trump about his own campaign was how crappy it was, and how everybody involved in it was a loser. What it lacks in refinement it more than makes up for in remorseless accumulation of detail. The tone is more The Sopranos, with a dash of Kafka, than The West Wing. Swathes of it he read peeping disbelievingly through splayed fingers, staggered at the chronicle of rank incompetence and mendacity. But even as you race through it, you stop to ask yourself, is this the unvarnished truth? Get the latest news and updates emailed straight to your inbox. By submitting your email you are agreeing to Fairfax Media's terms and conditions and privacy policy. Trump's definition of fake news is anything he doest want to hear, which is clearly most of the contents of this book. But you can't help feeling that, in some respects at least, he might have a point. Critics have already begun to catalogue Wolff's numerous factual inaccuracies. Certainly, his narrative new journalism style of reported dialogue and vivid description, and his vagueness about sources, invite the suspicion that, given half the chance to make Trump look even worse